500 years ago, he washed ashore the sole survivor.
G'day, this is X-Band, the Phantom Podcast. Our website is chroniclechamber.com, and you can subscribe to our podcast via YouTube or through your favourite podcast apps. This is episode 219. Tonight, or today, when we are going to get to chat with Pratheesh from Regal, the publisher, who is doing great things bringing the Phantom back to India. And we're also going to be joined by Ankit, who is not only a Chronicle Chamber friend, with a PH of course, and a contributor, but he is also a designer and cover artist for Regal. So welcome, guys. How are yous? Awesome. So Ankit, most people who have been on our podcast know who you are and stuff like that. So we probably won't do a huge intro on you because everyone knows who you are. So thank you for joining us tonight, Ankit. I'm really looking forward to discuss the trade paperback, but also learning a bit more about Regal, this publisher that's bringing the Phantom back to India and making him popular again. So Pratheesh, thank you for joining us.
Right.
Now, I'm known for butchering people's names and pronunciations. So all the listeners can laugh every time I try and pronounce your name as we go. Could you tell us how to pronounce your name?
Pratheesh.
Pratheesh. Okay,
Pratheesh.
cool. Now, I was just wondering, just get us started on the podcast, Pratheesh, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then we can go into a little bit about yourself with the history of the Phantom and comics in general. So just tell us, I don't know, how old or the age range you are, and then we can kind of go from there.
Okay. Myself, Pratheesh Jacob. So actually, my father is the founder of this Regal Publishers. So we started Regal Publishers in the year 1976.
Wow.
Okay. So at that time, even I was not born actually. Okay. Okay. And initially, this Regal Publishers was into books like study materials kind of thing, like English grammar, spoken English, and such a related kind of thing. We were never into comics or novels kind of thing. But during the 1980s, my father decided, okay, let us be into fictional characters like that. So initially, we started with characters like Steel Claw, James Bond, Modesty Blaze. These characters actually we took a rise and we started publishing the comics. It was published the comics, and then my father decided, okay, let it be to the next level, and he had an arrangement with Edgar Rice Burroughs for the publishing Tarzan novels. So all these things were in Malayalam, of course, since we are basically from Kerala. So we started the Tarzan novels also. Almost in the same period at this stage, he contacted Kingfishers also, because he decided, okay, let it be Phantom and Mandrake also come into. But the thing is that at that time in India, Indrajal Comics, which was part of the Times of India group, they were publishing the this comics. So my father got a reply that at this stage they are publishing. Actually, they were publishing in various languages, not just English. In many other languages in India, they were publishing. So they said that once they stop, if such a situation happens, at that time they will consider us. But we were able to get a rise over the Phantom novels, since that was not being published by anybody. So my father started our association with Kingfishers with the publishing of Phantom novels. So it started in the early 1980s, and we actually published 6 Malayalam Phantom novels. In the Avon series, it was out of the 15, we published 6. And in English also, actually, we published.
Is that so? That's the Avon novels. Is that correct?
Pardon?
Is that the Phantom novels like from Avon Publishers? The ones that
Yes,
did
yes,
you reprint
yes.
those? Yeah.
Yes, we translated that into Malayalam.
Yeah.
And we published 6 novels actually.
Yeah.
Which included, I think, some of them are like a slave market of Mukar, Scorpia, Mysterious Ambassador, like that. Total, it was 6 in numbers. And in English also, actually, we published the 2 novels,
Okay. Wow.
which was Vampires and the Witch, and also Mysterious Ambassador.
Wow.
Actually, I have a copy of one of the Phantom novels which we published in English during that period. This is one. I think you can see this.
Oh, amazing. Hang on. Just let me pin you. So that is so cool. Now, I heard rumors about these comics, but people weren't sure whether they existed or not. So I'm glad to be able to see them in the flesh and to be able to know the story behind them. That is
Actually,
so.
we have a couple of copies with us. Most of them are not there with us actually. Whatever we publish, because it is a 35 years, 40 years back story. So at that time, whatever we published, luckily we happen to have some copies with us, just as a nostalgia.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was published in 1985 actually. I think you may not be able to see this. And the price was 12 rupees. Indian rupee, 12 rupees at that time for this.
Oh, wow.
So like that we started with actually Phantom novels. Then once Indrajan stopped publishing, which was by the end of 1980s, then Kingfishers contacted us saying that now you can have it like that. Then we started from the 1990s onwards. We started in Malayalam. So we were publishing mainly this one, Ladies and Sundays. And I have one copy of that one also to show you. This is one copy of what we published at that point of time.
Oh, wow. Don't think I have
It's a
any of
very
those
rare
in my
copy
collection.
actually. Very, very rare copy. And if you can see the inside, this is in double color. We used to publish in black and white and also in double color. And size of the comics also was much bigger as compared to the present one. What we published recently, if you compare that, you can see that the size difference.
Yeah.
See the difference. See.
There's a big difference.
This much, big difference it is. So at that time, that was the printing plus size. It was like that. So, but actually what happened is that after 1997, I think that was the last time when we published that in Malayalam. So this was the time when TV and television and other things were into this one. So most of the publishers in India, they happened to stop one by one their comics characters and everything. So we were also one of them. So like that, actually, we lost this one. I mean, we stopped it. Then it took another 15 years for us to again restart it. In 2012.
So were you still printing other stuff?
Yes. Although we stopped although we stopped Fandom, our other publishing continued. Like as I already told you, we were into educational books, spoken English, grammar, and such other types of novels, etc. We were publishing. That continued, although not on a larger scale, it is still continued. But Fandom and also Tarzan also at that point of time we stopped it. Then again we decided to bring back everything, and as a first step in 2010 we started Tarzan novels again. Whatever we published during the 1980s, again we started with the same reprinting of all these things. And in 2012 we published our first Phantom comics again in Malayalam. I have a copy of that one also.
Yes, I remember that one.
I think you may have seen this before.
Yes, I've got I've got a copy of that.
Yes, this one.
It's a beautiful cover by Joe Jusko.
Yes, this was in black and white actually. This was in black and white.
Yeah.
So what happened is that, of course, our plan was to continue, but unfortunately we had to stop with this one. Our plan was to actually publish both Phantom and Mantle. Due to some personal reasons, actually we had to stop it. I think I can explain that personal reason also. My mother happened to be sick, and it was liver cirrhosis basically. So my father had to fully attend here. And in 2015 she died. And after that also father was actually at that time he was not in a condition to again restart all this one. But actually we compelled him in like that after some 3-4 years. In 2019 we again started. We again had arrangement with King Features. Like that we started. But this time we made one big difference. The fact that we understood that the taste of the customers are changed. Because earlier we were publishing in black and white. In 2012 also, if you can see, we were publishing black and white. But we understood that the situation is different now. We have to move according to the new generation trend. So we decided to publish in multicolor. And like that we started our next session. Basically, we can say after some gap.
So that was this series here, wasn't it?
Yes, this is one of them.
Yeah.
One out of them.
And that was still in your native language, which is Malayalam.
Pardon?
And that's in your traditional language, Malayalam.
Yes. We started. See, all this point of time, we were concentrating only in Malayalam, because in the 1990s also, since we are based out of Kerala, we decided only we never thought about publishing in another language. Because marketing is a bigger issue. Okay.
Yeah.
We know the booksellers and everybody in person when those who are in Kerala, but when it comes to the outside, we will be dealing with the totally strangers actually. So as far as marketing is concerned, settlement of the money and all those things will be a big issue. Ultimately it's a matter of trust and everything. So we were concentrating only in Malayalam basically.
Yes.
But when we started in 2019 in Malayalam, compared to the previous situation, now due to the all these people are everywhere, people will immediately come to know. Whether we are publishing in Kerala also, it will be within no time, it will reach everywhere. So from various parts of India, we started communications from Phantom fans. India, the specific thing is that there are various states and the languages are also different. So people from a particular state wanted to publish in their language. People from state called Tamil Nadu wanted to publish in Tamil. From the Ankit's place, which is West Bengal, they wanted to publish in Bengali, their language. From North India, other people wanted to publish in Hindi. So different languages, people started contacting us. Can you publish in that specific language? So then we decided, okay, we cannot satisfy everybody, because although in India, customer, if you are counting the customers in India, definitely there are a lot of customers for Phantom. But the problem is that these people are divided based on the language. So if we publish in a particular language, we will not get enough number of customers as far as the sales are concerned. So we thought it better that we publish in English, which can be read anywhere in India. Anywhere.
So did you see the sales increase, like which is the new series that you have published, which is in
we started
English?
with this one. Yes, this was our first edition. So one more thing, what we decided when we switched to English is that we wanted to see, of course, as far as the money part is concerned, in India, of course, people are very, very interested in this Phantom character, but at the same time, money is a big issue. So we have to take into consideration all these things.
Yes.
So we decided that in Malayalam, we published one story in one comics.
Yep.
One comics contained only one story. Yes, one story it was. But when it came to English, we decided that let it be 2 stories because it is one way of saving the money for the customers because they need not spend delivery charges 2 times.
Yeah.
If we publish in 2 different times, 2 times the delivery charges they will have to bear. So all these things we kept in mind while we were publishing. And also we decided one more thing. It is not just that 2 stories in 1 comics. This when we are publishing at the same time, we will be publishing 2 comics itself. So basically, customer will be getting 4 stories in 1 shot, 1 delivery charges. So in this way, actually, we can customers also will be happy. They will get more stories at one time. They can also save their money as far as at least delivery charges are concerned. So all these 3 factors we took into consideration.
So were the sales for the English comics, were they a lot more than, say, the Malayalam language?
Size is same size. It is 18 into 26 centimeters.
So not the size of the comics, the sale numbers, how many comics you sold per issue. So were there, because you said that to sell for the English ones, did you sell more comics?
Yeah, that coming to that is necessary. Of course, in English we could sell more than what we sold in Malayalam.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That is a fact because although the numbers are reduced state-wise, because of course if I am given an option, do you want to read in Phantom Comics in Malayalam or English? I will definitely prefer Malayalam because that is my native.
Yeah.
So when publish in English, suppose there are 1,000 customers in one state, in a particular state in India, definitely when we are publishing in English, out of that only 100 may be buying. Remaining are people who wants to read in their local language only. But when we count in each state, let it be 100 only we are getting from one state. When we are counting different states, each state there will be some customers who will be ready to read in English. So in that way, when we calculated it, ultimately we realized that publishing in English, we are getting more customers than what we are publishing. Yes.
You're also getting a lot of Australian readers as well through the Free website. I've interacted with a fair few Australians, and they love this series. They love the quality and the covers and the color and stuff like that as well. So I know that's not your main target audience, but it's always nice, I guess, to be able to sell a few extra copies to Free.
Okay. Actually, from Australia, Free Publications were very supportive. Actually, they only contacted us when we published. So basically, we have the rights to sell in India only, as per our arrangement with the Kingfishers. So when from Free Publication, Mr. Rene White, when he contacted us, we contacted Kingfishers. So basically, there is a request from Free Publication that can they take from us. Then Kingfishers agreed for that. Okay, you can of course supply to since they are also one of the Phantom publishers. You can supply to them. So like that, we supplied it to our comics to grow. So we were not aware what will happen like that, but actually, I think Australian customers were very supportive and they liked our comics. So in that way, now also dealing is going on with through publication.
And then you've also, sorry, I was just going to say, you also buy some comics from Frew and sell to Indians.
Yes, that is what that is what I was about to say. So, another interesting thing is that subsequently, Mr. Rene White contacted us, saying that can we take Frew comics and sell in India? But of course, honestly speaking, we didn't have the confidence because you know that the price when the dollar when it is converted to Indian rupees, definitely we were sure that nobody is going to buy here. But we decided to take a chance. But of course, we have a lot of fans here. One is Ankit Mitra only. He is also taking from us Phantom Comics Frew. So once we brought Frew Comics here, we realized that yes, there are a certain number of customers who are not bothered about money, but their passion for fandom. their love for Phantom, they will be ready to take it. Now also we are in the arrangement with the Fru. We are actually exchanging. We are giving our comics to Fru. They are giving our their comics to us.
Oh, that's yeah. It sounds like a very productive relationship between the two. The other thing that I know myself and a lot of other fans are enjoying are all the extras that come with the comics, the trading cards, the posters, the stickers and stuff like that. Now, only speaking for myself here, I love extras in my comics. And Ankit, you might be able to help us with this one as well. How do you get extra sales because of those extras as well, like with the Indian market?
We think so because the responses what we got from the customers. I don't know whether it is for Indian customers only or for any customer. They love freebies. If something comes extra, definitely they love that. There are even customers who wanted extra freebies. They requested us. Can they get extra one poster or extra one so and so? And they loved that. Even for when we announced this Chatu Saga also, at that time there were customers asking us what freebies they will be getting. Of course, we were planning for freebies, but we made it as a surprise. We never said to anybody that we will be giving Chatu Saga cards. Most of the customers, once they got the comics in their hand only, they realized that such a freebie is there, and it was a surprise for them. Of course, Indian customers, they love freebies.
Ankit, you're just going to show us why Pratheesh keeps calling. Yeah, I didn't even know about him. Ankit, you kept that from me, mate.
We're showing that freebies actually. These are the Chatu Saga.
Yeah, they're amazing. I can't wait.
Everything is Ankit's artwork only.
Not all of them I can take.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. No, you've done a great job. So, Ankit, while you're holding those up, did you draw, or were some of them reproductions from the interior art? Can you show us which ones you drew, which ones?
Yeah, so the ones I drew is like the front cover. This one I have seen. This one is drawn by me. So it's and the back cover, the two color cards which are in the freebies section. And then there you have the and then another one. This one also I do. This one was like a placeholder that I have kept for, like, whenever the pages would end halfway, this was the element that would be used to tie the pages.
I see a little bit of Hans Lindell in the
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I remember like when I was doing my own Phantom, like initially, I remember like Henrik telling me, like, that there are certain things that you have to consider. Like, you can't just do your own thing all at times. So I was made to study Kari Leppanen and Hans Lindahl a lot to get that face right, because people like Sai Barry so much that they get a little upset if you do it a little your own way. So like I had to physically change my Phantom a lot. Like, this is mine again. But you can understand, like, there's a lot of Sai Barry as well as Lindahl. You can literally, and I've really practiced that part. Well, there is one where I have done from Graham Nolan, which was used in the book as a title, which I'll show when the thing is on. This is a Nolan thing, which I had to reproduce because the sizes weren't there and we don't have this art in black and white. So I just got the inks done and I took the things from them. This is a Nolan thing from Terror in Mavitan. I'll go into in depth with this when we finally show some of the design and everything.
Yeah, we kind of got a little bit distracted there. So, all fans get excited about little freebies and extras and all that. Like I said before, you're talking to a lot of fans from India and also from Australia. They love the extras, so thank you for those, Pratheesh. So how do Indian fans buy your comics? Is it pre-orders, subscriptions, or is it the old traditional going to the corner shop?
No, basically what is, I understand. So basically what is happening is that in India earlier, during that 1990s and etc., mainly the sales were through bookstores. we will be supplying it to, there was nothing like a direct sales. We were just giving it to the bookstores and in various parts of Kerala. And from there, customers will be going to the shop and buying. That was the this one. But now there is considerable change which has happened. The thing is that we have started our own website, and now I think most of the customers are directly booking from our website.
Okay.
And as far as the supply to bookshops are concerned, that is very minimal now, because as I already told you, we will be supplying to those with whom we have very good trustworthiness and all those things like that. So number is actually considerably less. Also, you know that this COVID, when we were actually releasing the English Phantom comics, we were in the middle of COVID actually. COVID was a peak at that time. So most of the shops were closed actually. The bookstores everywhere it was closed. Wherever we were communicating, either there was no answer or they were not in a position to take. So we decided, okay, we should have our own way of doing things, and we started our own website. And like that, now most of the customers are aware about our website and they are directly purchasing. But still, there are some bookstores with whom we are still supplying, with whom we have a very good rapport.
Okay. Cool.
Customers are not bothered. They want to actually directly buy from us. They love that. There is no issue in that.
Okay. Cool. Now another I don't know what word you'd use, but another situation you had to deal with during COVID as well was another publisher decided to publish The Phantom on the back of your success. Has that affected? And I know they've only released 2 or 3 issues so far, but has that affected sales?
Yeah, that I think the reason why another publisher came into picture itself is that if you notice our first one, which first English comics, Phantom number 1, once it is landed, I think not in India. If you if we take the other details of the other publishers who are whatever characters they published in India, I think we were the one who were publishing without any break. Irrespective of COVID was totally tarnishing the entire scenario. We ensured that there is no break in our publishing. So I think that made others to believe that Phantom is having a great demand in India. In spite of COVID, we have to publish these things. It is such, the sales are such higher, but actually that was not the fact in effect. As I think Ankit is aware, we are doing this more than as a business, as a passion basically.
Yes.
My father started this in 1980. Now also he is continuing. It is our passion. I think I have already told you I am basically an advocate by profession. I'm not in the place where we are doing the publishing. My brother is one of the partners of Regal Publishers. He is not even in India. He is outside India.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And also my father, most of the time he is not in the place where our business office is there, because as I already told you, mother died and my sister is in another place in Kerala. So he is staying with my sister in most of the time. And once in a while he comes to the office for some period. So basically these things are happening without our physical presence. And we are doing it from different place, and it is somehow it is working out of our passion only. I will say. So business, when you say how is the sales and everything, to run a business in a profitable manner for a company, it is not going in that way. Definitely, honestly, I would like to say that one. It is not going in that way. But as I already told you, for us, this is not just a profit. If we are getting at least our investment back, we are happy because we are doing this out of passion. So in that way, we are continuing. So I think the other publisher, Shakti may have come thinking that we were having very good sales because we were continuously publishing even during the COVID period.
Yeah.
Now coming to the situation, whether it has affected our sales, that was your main thing.
Yeah.
I would like to honestly say that one thing which happened because of the because when the other publisher came, they started publishing in English, Hindi, and Bengali, 3 languages basically. So one scenario which created, or one thing which came to the customer's mind was that, of course, whatever, because as I already told you, if there is an option given to an Indian customer, whether he wants to read in his native language, local language or English, he will definitely, just like me, he will prefer that one. So when Shakti came into picture, customers, at least a portion of the customers, may started thinking that, of course, Regal is publishing something in English. I don't want to purchase that one because I am sure that that will be published in my local language
in
later.
Hindu or
So
Bengali.
this impression was one way it was created. So we have no problem in any other publisher publishing phantom comics, so long as it is in conflict with the language in which we are publishing. We don't have any issue. So we would have been very happy if Shakti was publishing in Hindi and Bengali only, or any other languages also. But another issue what happened because of the intervention of Shakti is that, you know that in nowadays most of the stories of fandom, they are connected. See, if one story we read, there will be a reference of some previous story. And now if you take it to account Chatu saga itself, you know that it is a continuous story. So when stories are divided also, this problem we will be facing. Not only just we, the other publisher also will be facing.
Yes.
One story, one publisher published means another person cannot start publishing the next story because it may be a continuing story. And if that continuation is coming for the next 5 or 6 years, depending upon everything, depending upon Tony Depot, what next story he will be writing. But this is a serious issue actually. Because now, tomorrow, if the continuation story, if the other publisher is not publishing, think of the situation, 2 stories are published, 2 continuing stories are published, then the third one or fourth one, the other publisher is not publishing, we are also unable to publish.
Yeah.
Because we cannot start from a middle. So this is the problem what we are facing when in the same language, 2 publishers are coming.
Yeah,
So
because from what I understand, Yusuf, and hopefully you can correct me, but you're only publishing stories like from the late 90s onwards. And so the other problem that you're going to have is that there's only so many stories that have been created in the last 20 years as well.
Sorry.
Sorry. I was just saying that the other problem that I see is that seeing you're only creating stories from 1999 or 1998 onwards, you've got 20 years worth of stories, and you're both publishing stories from the same era, so you're going to probably run out of stories to publish soon as well.
Yes, that is exactly what is happening now.
Yeah.
Now stories are almost run out. Okay? Yeah. Now, whatever we are latest published is, or is going to publish is around 2018, 19, 20 range stories later. So this is another issue which will be coming in future. Without much delay, stories will be run out. So now our only option is to go back to, because if you, we are publishing the stories much faster.
Yes.
Because as you know, one stretch we are publishing 6 stories, 3 comics containing 6 stories. So we are publishing little bit faster because we are publishing only in one language. So we are going some more fast. Shakti is publishing 1 story at a time because, of course, I can understand from their point of view, they are publishing 3 different languages.
Yes.
So that will take its own time. So in effect, and also no, it is not just fandom. They are publishing Mandrake and Flash Gordon also.
Yeah.
So they will be going slow, but they will be publishing more characters. Yeah. That advantage is from our point of view. The thing is that we are publishing in a much faster as far as fandom stories are concerned. Basically, we are running out of stories. That is ultimately that is the situation which is going to happen. So the only option for us is to go back.
So that will be. So that's Cyber's stories that you're looking at publishing then.
Now presently we were started publishing from 1996 till date later, which are actually in color. Because as I already told you, in 2009, we changed our plan. We decided to, looking into the new generation, this one we decided to publish color comics only. So we had a ready-made available, which are with the king features after 1990. The stories prior to 1996, two issues are there, which are mainly Saibari period. Default Saibari combo. Two issues are there. One is that it is black and white. Another thing is that these are stories which are already read by Indian customers. Because as I already told you, Intrajal was publishing till 1990.
Yeah.
So these stories are already, most of the stories, around 90% of the stories are already published one. It is widely available. And of course, piracy is also one of the things. These are readily available everywhere.
Yeah, because
So
you've also got Diamond Comics as well, which produced them in the 90s as well.
Which one?
The Diamond Comics are a little digest.
Yeah, Diamond Comics also. Yes. They also published one. They also published for in a period when we were publishing in Malayalam at that time. I think primarily they were publishing in English, so they are also published. So these are all stories prior to 1996. These are already published stories.
Yeah.
Indian customers have already read it. So if again somebody is to buy, those people who will be buying will be big fans of fandom, who are not bothered about whether they read it once or not. They want another copy. Very simple.
Yeah.
Who are publishing, they will again take. They are basically collectors. So the issue what we will be facing, we are anticipating is that sales numbers will be reduced. Then another extra burden is that coloring. All these are black and white materials. We'll have to color it. That is a time-consuming process and also expensive process.
Yes.
But still, as I already told you, we are doing everything out of passion. So we have actually decided, okay, let us do a try like that, and we are planning to bring some of the old, which are in a Bari period, default Bari combo basically.
Oh wow! Awesome.
Bringing it anyway.
Yeah. Awesome. So, just going back to Regal, I've got a couple more questions, then we want to talk about your trade paperback. You've just to confirm, you're printing Mandrake. Now I know
Mandrake actually we started with this one, what you have just shown. After that, of course, compared to fandom, the demand of Mandrake is less actually.
Yes. So will you be publishing any more Mandrake or?
We have not decided on that one. It is still 50-50 like that. At this stage, we are concentrating on fandom, but we have not ruled out the possibility of again publishing Mandrake. So we may consider that again in future.
Okay. Now I know you used to publish Tarzan comics. Do you still publish those?
Sorry, there was some break. I didn't hear.
So I know you used to publish Tarzan as well as Modesty Blaze and stuff. Do you still publish those, or is it the only comics you publish now is the Phantom?
Yes, now also we published Tarzan. Last 2 months back we published the Tarzan novel. Actually, Tarzan is 24 numbers are there. Novel which is written by Edgar Rice Burroughs, and this is the 19th and 20th one which we recently published.
Oh wow!
This is the latest one which we published 2 months back. Another 4 are still in pipeline, so that also will be published in due course.
Okay, cool.
That is novel basically, and also in Malayalam only in Malayalam language.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to I guess give you a chance to promote that as well. So, now one of the reasons why we've been wanting to talk to you for a while, but also there's been a lot of excitement, I know, amongst Indian fans, but also amongst a lot of Australians as well, is this new trade paperback that you are publishing. Now, as I said before, Ankit will be reviewing the trade paperback, and that will be on our website and on our YouTube along with this podcast as well. Now, I suppose, Ankit, I want to give you a chance to speak, and so in a couple of minutes, can you just tell us what you like about this trade paperback? What makes it so special, besides the fact that you were quite heavily involved in it? But I guess just sell it for those who are umming and ahhing about buying it. Why should people buy it and get a hold of this trade paperback?
Thanks, Jermayn, and Yeah, so basically, the reason this trade paperback is very exciting for me is that, uh, personally speaking, like there are three things that actually goes into this main thing of the trade paperback. Back in 2019 was the first time when I ever saw a fruit trade paperback, and it blew my mind because as a Phantom fan in India and those who reads foreign comics, for us, those who read foreign comics like Batman, Superman, and all of that, we have only access to trade paperbacks because we do not get normal monthly comics of these characters. So it's like the book market. So if you want to buy comics, it's always in trade paperback format. And I always felt that the Phantom suffered because he as like no like you would like the kids nowadays, because they have seen the movies that come out of the MCU and everything, they expect like when they go into the store and get a comic, like something like in the same vein, like they see trade paperbacks of say Batman Year One or Spider-Man, something like that. Phantom has no presence that way, and the way the direct distribution of these comics and everything happened, it's not very healthy. So trade paperback was much needed, and Fru's trade paperback really set a standard because especially the first one, it kind of introduces the whole Phantom universe and all of it, and I love those trades. Whereas in India, we've never had something like that, something like a collected storyline based something. So that comes to, so this trade paperback kind of addresses that situation. It has that kind of quality which can stand in the shelves along with like a DC Marvel or even the Fruit trade paperback. And more importantly, what is important is like it follows a storyline which goes through a long way. So you get 256 pages of like of just comics of a really long, like how people love to read something like a comic. If it's just about 56 pages, you buy it and like you voraciously read it, it's done. But when you have like a sizable book of one story and you feel like, this feels like a lot more value, and it's something that you can, and especially with the presentation, the color, the everything, like I have with like, in my head, like even if you see the back, I had the standards of like, say the Marvel Epic Collection or things like that in my mind when I was part of making this thing, and also the Fruit trades. So I can assure people, like if you buy this, you will you're basically getting that quality that Fruit puts out there, and also you're getting some of the most exciting stories that Tony DePaul and Paul Ryan have done, and these are pretty like in the Phantom verse, these are very important. Like this is a storyline. If you get with the death of Diana Palmer Walker, like this is a significant storyline. And more importantly, why we chose Chatu saga is because like this was Chatu can be considered, in my opinion, the most probably the first formidable recurring villain for the Phantom. And so all of these things put together, plus also another thing is like I've seen like there has not been a collected edition for this stuff in color and all of it by any of the big other publishers, like Phantom or even Fru. So this kind of basically addresses that situation here. So yeah, so that's basically it. That's the reason why this paperback is.
So Pratheesh, was this the first time you've ever produced a trade paperback? Or have you produced other comic trade paperbacks before?
No, this is the first one. Actually, this idea was given by Ankit. And at the same time, we were, as I already told you, we were importing Fru comics to India. So Ankit gave me this idea. Why can't we have a trade paper like what is Fru is doing? But I know the situation. This was 1 year back. Ankit gave this idea. I know the situation in India where we are presently selling that our normal editions. It is 200 rupees. 2 stories, basically 100 rupees for 1 story. That itself, we are in a situation to give discount to customers, because Indian scenario is like that. People love Phantom, but at the same money is an important thing. So considering that one, if we publish a trade paperback where money is much higher, how Indian customers will react to that one? Whether can we sell even 1 copy? These were all in my mind. Is it possible? But anyway, we decided to do a try because we have to try and see what is going to happen. So now
Yeah.
we have tried. Now we are waiting for what is going to happen.
Has the initial response been positive?
Initial response, see, basically what we did is that some 2 months prior to be releasing this one itself, actually we had decided to anyway release it, whatever be the response. We made an interim survey kind of thing. We are planning to issue publish a collector special. So and so will be the price. That was the highlight. This much will be the price. Whether you people will be ready or not, in which case we will do. But anyway, we were planning to do it, whatever be the response. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I realized that some of the big fandom fans, they said, yes, this is a good idea, you do it like that. But of course, price was a bigger issue. People were
Yes,
saying that,
of course.
oh, this price, how can I will not be able to. And some people were suggesting that if you are putting this much of price, let it be hardbound. Okay, it should be a hardbound one. Then I said again, I will let increase the price, which is not feasible. So we were getting mixed response actually. Now actually thing has come into, and now we are waiting to see. It will take some time for us to analyze what exactly is
Yes,
happening.
of course.
We are just released only 1 week back, so we are waiting still.
So Ankit, obviously you've been involved in the design process, but you're also a fan as well. How have you seen the fan reaction to this so far?
Question is,
yeah, in terms of fan reaction, if you see, like, it's always been like positive. Like, the thing is, I wish all the reaction that I see translated to sales. That would be a lot more. That would be a lot more. But like a lot of people, like, yeah, they've appreciated basically they've just posted the cover art and all. So they've appreciated the cover art, the back cover, and those things, and the presentation in general has been. And those people who've actually like received the books already, some of the people have already received it. They've always they've basically given a very positive response. So the people who are willing to buy it are basically satisfied with what they get, and they believe it, because those people who are like the real hardcore stuff, and they've even got through trade paperbacks in their possession. So they have kind of compared everything, and they're like, yeah, this is it, this holds up, so this can easily slot in with the top of the line. So that way I'm happy that that people can recognize, and they can see how much effort and how much thing went behind to keep that quality standard, where this can easily sit in the same shelf with any of the top international trades and still be like there at there.
That's good. Pratheesh, will Fru be stocking this trade paperback?
Yes, Fru will be taking. We got a confirmation from Fru, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, that they will be taking some copies. Okay,
awesome. So for a lot of our Australian listeners, if you haven't already organised a copy through Ankit or one of the other Phantom Indian friends out there, Fru will be releasing some, and they will let people know when they're available to purchase. That's good. Now, I've got some specific questions about the trade paperback, so this will be something that both of you will be able to answer. So, first question: why why this collection of stories? Ankit, you've talked about how you really enjoyed it. You really enjoyed the villain. Is there anything else you wanted to add about why you were so eager to publish these stories as a collected edition? And then we'll go to Pratheesh.
Yeah, so another reason, like from whatever I've said about the villain and all of it, was that all the stories that Regal were publishing, that I was noticing the post 1998 period, there were different artists, as who have been involved, like Graham Nolan, then Paul Ryan, Ollison and Williams, and all of these guys were there, and now Mike Manley and Jeff Weigel and Terry Beatty. So, with all due respect to everyone, my favorite amongst all of them have always been Paul Ryan. And since I think this showcases Paul Ryan's work, and it also could have been and is basically a very fitting tribute to Paul, who passed away. And I always also wanted to do something special about Paul. Like, we've had special issues for Lee Falk, for Claire Simurti, who passed away also. So I felt like this issue should also be like, like a tribute issue also for Paul, whose work dominates this issue. And also, like, for me personally, he's my favorite Phantom artist. So on the strip. So yeah, that was another big motivation for me to like get this out, and which is why, you see in the very third page, it shows like this book is dedicated to the memory of Paul Ryan.
Yeah, that's a great touch. I met Paul Ryan when he came to Australia. An absolute gentleman. Like, a lot of creators are really nice and all that, but you just get some that are just like, he was pure. He was a really nice gentleman. He always had time for the fans. And it was just, he does stand out of some of the creators that I've met. Pratheesh,
I really wish I would have interacted with him somehow. Like, really, I that's one of the biggest misses of my, I guess.
So I brought a daily off him, and then I interacted with him a little bit, and then when he came to Australia, I introduced myself, and he remembered me. He remembered the piece that I brought, and he would have interacted with probably 1,000 people in between that. But the fact is that he remembered who I was and stuff like that. So, he definitely had a heart for the fans, which is
I could really see that, because when I first asked Duncan to write a tribute for him, like Duncan has a tribute in the book like written by him for Paul Ryan. It's called Veil Paul Ryan, and it's 2 pages of the tribute are here. And if you read it, you will understand like how one of the things that he stressed on so much was about how much Paul Ryan was a great soul, as he says.
Yeah.
And it was like it more than just like praising his skills and everything, which everyone knows. Paul Ryan is a legend in the comic book industry. It's a very heartfelt memorial, and I felt like Duncan was the best person to write, because like he's like, I felt he was a fan also, huge fan. Like, he's got so much stuff, like, and he was very gracious to give us 3 of his original pieces, which I have used as the backgrounds for both the points. Like, wherever it has been a Paul Ryan tribute, it is basically Paul Ryan's own art, which I have like lifted as the inks and placed it there.
So Pratheesh, when you read this story, were you like, wow, this is a really good story? And did you get why did you want to publish this story, this saga?
Yes, actually, this story was suggested by Ankit only. But and the thing is that the first story of this one, which is Terror in Mountain, this is a story which we published in the initial stage itself. So I was really stunned, and I was very surprised to read that story, because that even during the 1990s also I read a lot of stories, but this story was one story where Phantom got defeated. Yeah. And I have never read any. This was the first story which I ever read in my life where when the story ends, Phantom is getting defeated. In all other stories, whatever I have read, either Phantom may be captured or he may be beaten, but in the same story, he will come up and clean the villains. But I was really surprised, and this was one of the best stories which if you say out of the old stories, whatever I read so far, I will say this Terror in Mountain is the best one.
Yeah.
Okay, because that gave me a different experience. So the moment I read this one, I immediately we contacted Kingfishers. Where is the rest? We need it immediately. Like that. Actually, we communicated that one. Okay, because I want to ensure that Phantom has to beat Chatu also. Yeah. That was the main intention. Okay, so that is one thing which I liked with the story. So when I was very happy that the Chatu saga, when Ankit gave this idea, of course, Terror in Mountain will be the first story, which is my best, the story which I best like, and also its continuing story also will be like that. Another interesting thing is that this Chatu saga contains an Indian character also. in the form of Savarna. So that is also something which Indian readers will be really liking. Okay, in fact, I also enjoyed that all the moments and everything, and that is the reason I. And another speciality is that in this Chatu saga itself, the death of Diana Palmer, that has its own specialty. It is a long run, the most the biggest story ever about Phantom, which that is another in. So all these things are coming together in one book, which we felt that yes, this should be the first trade paperback. That is the one and only reason we decided, okay, let us start.
Yeah, no, completely agree with what you say. I've always loved the story as well. I remember, so when it came out, I remember it had everyone talking about it. All the fans were talking about it. There was so many fans that had gotten back to reading each strip each day. And, you know, I was doing that. So for a period of 2 years or something, I was reading it every day. Where before I would just read them in a free comic. I'll just wait and read them in a free comic. And even now I probably read them every week or two. But that had me hooked for about 2 years reading it day by day. So I completely agree. Now, Ankit, you did talk about the tributes. Did you want to maybe share your screen and we can kind of go through some of the contents of the book? Now we did practice this before, so let's see how we go again.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because I've seen it. I've seen people doing reviews, and I've seen some of the previews and stuff like that. Pratheesh and Ankit, the level of care that you've put in this trade paperback is just absolutely amazing. Do you want to start off with maybe the front cover?
Yeah.
Ankit?
The most important thing I would like, can you hear my voice is going through, right? Like,
yeah.
And there is no interruption on the video, right? Like this is fine.
No, this is perfect, mate.
Yeah. So if you look at the cover, you will notice something. I wanted to address certain things also with the cover. So I remember you saying, like when you said like what you like about covers is if the art interacts with the logo. So, so mentally, I had thought that, yeah, that makes sense. You know, like some of the best covers I've seen, actually the art interacts with the logo a lot. So if you notice the way I made the buildings and even the helicopter, it just kind of goes with how the Phantom logo is. And I had like before doing this cover, I remember like you must have remembered. I've like probably asked you guys. I've asked all the friends like I had like, you know, what should I do? Because I was really confused about this one, whether it should be a main picture from like, you know, something based off like an iconic scene and all, which brings me to my last work, like my back cover. But over here, if you notice, a couple of things was I wanted to have it like finally I decided that I wanted to have it in a very manner which would be like a collage of an action film of the 80s or 90s. So like the main villain, which is Chatu, looming at the back, and then you had Savarna in the front, like the main characters who would be involved in this. Then the UN Mavitan building, which is the demise of Diana Palmer Walker. So I felt these were like the characters which really needed the projection for the main thing. And also another thing I've noticed, like fans absolutely love Phantom, Hero, and Devil. So it's like a very, very classic combination. Like you place that and you have like, okay, you've kind of tied things up together. So that is one of the reasons the lower part of it, I wanted to tie that whole image together in front and give that sense of familiarity to all the artists and everyone that, like, not artists, sorry, like the readers and all, that, yeah, this is a classic Phantom, like how they remember it as their main thing. So that is what gives me the main idea of the, the cover. And also another thing you'll notice is I wanted, since this was again like a Paul Ryanish tribute, you will notice that they kind of resemble, like especially Chatu and all, the more Paul Ryan style of. Because I did ask Tony DePaul, like if he had, which you can read in the interview, like did he have any references for like any actor or somebody who he felt resembled Chatu, or he gave pointers to his artist, like this is the person. So taking all that in, I had done this. So the Phantom, I think, kind of resembles Paul Ryan's, other than the nose and things like that. Savarna, I wanted to address her skin color, which Tony DePaul had mentioned to me that he was never happy with how her skin tone was portrayed on the strips, unfortunately. So those kind of things. And then came the most important.
So talking about Savannah, is she too white?
She was, like Mr. DePaul actually told me that, like because it was colored somewhere in Orlando by people who were not artists or did not have a brief, she was made too white than who she was. Like he said that she looked a little too much like Diana at times in the strip. Yeah. Well, like right now with Mike Manley, that has been kind of addressed, he says, but initially, like he just feels like in the initial days it was not well handled, which which I wanted to like kind of so I wanted to kind of address that on the cover itself and like tell people like she's of Indian origin. So
sorry, Pratheesh, were you happy with the cover? Did it like capture the vision that you were kind of wanting?
No, we really we really love this cover art by Ankit. No doubt in that.
Awesome. Sorry, Ankit.
Yeah, so then it's like when you open the book up, I had this idea that it should be like, a face of, like when you open it, like the first couple of like the, the inside cover and the first cover should be like a face off of the Phantom and Chatu. So like the inside cover has, if you notice, Chatu's thing. And basically here I used what Paul Ryan's reference was. Like here you can see like it's Paul Ryan, like the credit has been given to him here. So how Paul Ryan draws his Chatu is basically going to be the standard for this book. And so it comes to a title page where, this is my style of the Phantom, based heavily off Lepan and Anne Lindahl. So it looks like if you look at it, like when it opens up the book, it just is like a face off between the Phantom and Chatu, and like in a classic trade paperback fashion of the main creators' names are there with the main titles. So
did you communicate with Graham Nolan at any stage during this?
I actually did. But I guess he was really busy because now he's very heavily into indie self-funded comics and all. So he's very busy with like his, I think, Alien, Alamo and all of this. So he wasn't really, so initially after a few conversations, we didn't really get back much from him because I think he had a very tight schedule and all. I hope sometime we can, get back to him and, get something, because he's also one of my favorite creators, because from Batman and all, I have a sentimental thing for him. Reading the Batman comics in the 90s back then. So so this here I borrowed something from Fru, which is the contents page on the left hand side of the book. So this is where we basically the content, and if you notice it, this is how I actually, the background, this is again a Paul Ryan, which I again scaled up and redrew for the size of the page. This is a Paul Ryan introduction, and you can notice it. It's basically the first Phantom coming ashore with the ship.
Origin piece. That's nice.
So the origin. So the contents of the book, it's like the start of it. So I want to start with the fact, like how the Phantom washes up ashore and all. So with every page which has a backing image, there was a certain reason why that image was put. So here you get that, and the very next page is the main dedication page. Here, I did not do any redrawing or anything. I actually used what Duncan provided, and I managed to somehow isolate the inks. It was a very tedious process. I've never done it. And believe me, it was the first time I actually, thanks to this trade paperback, I learned how to use Photoshop, like a very little rudimentary thing. Before that, I never worked on it. Everything was done on Procreate by me. So yeah, so this is Paul Ryan portrait, which I wanted to put in the dedication page, and you can see this is, I think this artwork is owned by Duncan, and this one was done, and Fru had actually printed a black and white version of this on their Paul Ryan tribute.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so this is the one. So this is an actual Paul Ryan art at the back for that. And then comes, and yeah, the one of the biggest reasons I would like to thank is how Mr. Tony DePaul was so helpful. He did the introduction and he gave that really nice interview. It gives us so much insight to what the book is about and what he was thinking. So similarly here you will notice, and I wanted to also give something to the Indian fans who are huge Cy Barry fans. So basically I used Cy Barry inks and colored it myself. So you can see it's there. And if you see the background to this introduction, it is again a Paul Ryan piece, which I again had to redraw. And you can see it's Paul Ryan there.
With the Chronicle Chambers.
Yeah, so it's basically like him in the Chronicle Chamber putting a book back. And so, it just has something. So every background has something tied up. And in this introduction, Mr. DePaul really gives a very good idea about where the stories, why he created the character of Chatu and what narrative does Chatu actually help make Phantom a greater hero.
Yeah.
So that was the thing.
Good.
And then another part that I wanted was just how in the initial trade paperbacks, how Fru would introduce a Sunday or a daily. I wanted to have something like a plate which would give before every story. So we have that in Terror in Mavitan, and I wanted to use something art from inside one of the panels. But however, these are very small panels and they're all in color. So I had to scale it up and again kind of redraw some of the stuff. So, but of course it is basically their art. So I have always credited them here. As you can see, it's Graham Nolan's work. And this is the panel I used for Terror in Mavitan. Similarly, I did for the Return of Chatu story, I used a panel which was, that blast of him coming out. And Justice for the Python is I chose because I wanted to put the Python as the showcase character here. And whereas for Death of Diana Palmer Walker, I did not want to break the stories with a title page, because I felt the stories flowed much better without those breaks. So we had one title page only, and it would be just those. So everything was laid out here. And as you can see, the most iconic picture, that panel rather, I felt from the whole saga is this one, Phantom sitting on the throne. I would revisit it later.
You and I had a big long discussion about this.
Exactly. I remember how to put this, because there were a lot of things happening for this. And here was the last story, the Terror's Mutiny, and I felt this one was okay, for that. And heading right out of Terror's Mutiny is where we get the extras. So before I head to the extras, I would just like to show the certain things. So this is the inside back inside cover. So this is where it ends, and this is the skull cave at the back. I don't know if it's visible, but it's basically the skull cave. So it's kind of ending it off. So the back cover art, which I will say was this one, was the clincher for me, because I realized I wanted to give the whole flavor of the Diana Palmer Walker story. And I wanted to give it, but I could not give this where Phantom is so vulnerable in the front cover, because I know Indian readers, they like their Phantom to be strong, kind of I won't say unbeatable, but yeah, they to see the Phantom broken and so forlorn I don't think would have worked very well. But it is so iconic, and it is such a big part of the thing. I had to so I recreated it in this manner, and I chose the Phantom to be this big, and I chose not to have a devil in it also, because I wanted him to be more isolated, looking all alone in this world, he's lost so much, and he's such a big guy, muscular, everything and all of it, and he's just so vulnerable at this moment of time.
Yeah.
So
Can you just go back to that back cover? You've missed
Yeah.
something on the back cover. Do you know what it is?
On
On the skull throne.
Oh, look, I basically, you and I had a discussion on this too. Like, I really don't consider the chain part of canon, and I'm very glad Mr. Tony D. Paul also, or even Mr. Paul Ryan. So it's not there in the original panel. So I am not going to. I know how much you love that. I really don't know how you love that story, to be very honest. Like, and yeah, so thank God the chain is not there, and I hope it never comes back.
No, we had a bit of a discussion about that. I just thought I had to throw that one in there. No, I really love that scene as well of the Phantom vulnerable, isolated, scared. It really showed probably a side of the Phantom that we haven't seen in a lot of stories, probably almost to his detriment, I would say, in a sense. He's not like a lot of superheroes like Spider-Man, who's, so insecure about who he is and stuff like that. But, it's okay to see the Phantom not winning. Pratheesh, you made mention of it as well, is that the story ends with him not winning the day. And it's and I think it blew a lot of people. It was just like, whoa, this is so different. So I'm really glad you managed to capture that image. I think you captured it quite well, and you put it on the back cover. I think you've done a great job with that.
Thank you so much, Jermayn. So I'd like to also go back to like a certain design choice, like for the ones which, like the article which Duncan Munro has done, the Vale Paul Ryan, as you can see here. I used actual art that he owns. You can see at the back, it is Paul Ryan's art. Like, I think this is from the Nomad story, I think, somewhere.
He's jumping out of a tree.
He's jumping out of the, yeah. And the second one, too, it's Paul Ryan. I think, I'm not sure if I think that's Sandal Singh. I don't think it's really, yeah, and him shooting back. So I wanted to, for all the tribute pages, I wanted to have his own work and nothing that has been touched by me. So that was my way of like trying to like just give it that thing. Whereas for the interview, if you look at for the backgrounds, there is a certain reason why I chose it, and I chose the name The Chronicler because I felt Mr. Tony D. Paul is the one who is like now the chronicler for the Phantom. He is the bard, like the person. So if you notice, the interview is 3 pages long, and for me, I have the background over here is the Phantom putting on the ring for the first time, and then him putting on his clothes for the first time. They're all based off how Paul Ryan used to draw, so you can see that, and the final image is him walking towards the skull to take the oath. So the reason was, after Lee Falk's passing, it was Mr. Tony D. Paul who took on the mantle. So I wanted to give that portrayal, that how he went through, and he is now the writer. He is one who tells the Phantom tale. So he is the new Phantom per se.
Yeah. Because the Phantom's a generational hero, and now it's been passed on to the next generation. It's very, very good. So Pratheesh, did all this just like blow you out, like seeing all the detail, and did the trade paperback come out better than what you hoped?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So this was our first experiment. So I was even ready in my mind. I was even ready, even if it is not as much as expected. Then also we will take it because it is a learning process. The first time we are doing any mistake is there, we will sort out in the next one. Yeah. But I don't know, by God's grace, I think everything went on very perfectly well. And I will say thanks for that only to one person, who is none other than Ankit.
Yeah.
He was behind everything, actually.
Yeah. No, you've done a great job, Ankit and Pratheesh. I can't wait to get my copy. Swaroop, if you're listening to this, you need to hurry up and send me my copy. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it as well. So You can't rest on your laurels, though. What is next? Do you have any other trade paperbacks coming that you're looking at doing?
Of course, we have a plan for that one, but it will take its own time.
Yes, of course.
But see, irrespective of whatever be the result of this one, of course, as far as the book is concerned, we are very happy. What the artwork and also the quality and everything, we are happy. Now it is for the customers to decide whether to buy or not, because as I already said, Indian condition, the price will seem to be on a higher side. But what we have decided is, irrespective of whatever be the result, as far as the sales are concerned, we will definitely go for another one.
Okay.
As a second one. It will take its own time, but definitely we will be printing another one.
So, Indian comic fans, readers, fans, if you like this, you need to hurry up and you need to buy a copy, because more trade paperbacks will happen if the sales are good. So, you made mention of that you're looking at doing some Saibari stories as well. Do you have, and I know you can't tell us everything, but is there any certain era or stories that you're looking at publishing, or is that still all up in the air?
For the trade paperback?
Just anything. You said that you were looking at doing some Saibari stories.
Looking at?
You were looking at publishing some Saibari stories in the future?
Oh, yes. Because as I already told you, since now sharing is happening, stories are now very less. So definitely we know that we will reach a situation whereby we will be left without stories. So definitely our only option, irrespective of whatever I have already said, Saibari stories are already read by people, since Indrajal already published, and also, of course, a lot of piracy, everything. And on everything we are aware. But in spite of that one, and also another difficult part is coloring of the same. So all these challenges are in front of us. We know that one, but definitely there is no wrong in trying out. Let us try it out and see what is going to happen. So we will be definitely publishing some Saibari stories and see how it goes on.
Awesome. Ankit, have I missed any questions, or Pratheesh, is there anything that I haven't covered that you would like to make mention of as well?
I really don't think. I think it's been pretty comprehensive. If there is anything I would like to say, when he was mentioning about how Indian fans and how he's doing all these experiments and all of it, I would really wish somehow it would be possible. Be very honest with you. The Phantom is just appreciated by guys like, I'm in my 30s now. Look at the people in this podcast right now. We are not getting the young readers, okay? And a big thing about it is because the whole Phantom verse, there is no unified model or like an editorial which can control the thing that is happening. One of the most easiest things, if you notice, after the MCU and all that has happened, is they have streamlined everything. The comics are now reflecting the movies more, so they've kind of rebooted the Marvel universe also to kind of make it more so people have a lot more parity when they come from the films to the comics and all. Unfortunately for the Phantom, with Fru stories, the Phantom Man stories, and this and that, it's so everywhere that new readers coming in, will they read the dailies, will they read this, all of that is kind of gone. So I think if there was a better publishing control over King Features or something, if they had a certain way of putting everything together.
So you're saying are you saying we need a Phantom Bible?
Yeah, we definitely need a Phantom Bible, because it also helps the publisher. And also, very honestly speaking, I would really like to see an original Indian story from, because India has such a huge publishing history of the Phantom, yet we have zero original stories. We have been only reprinting dailies and Sundays, and dailies and Sundays all our thing. And it's also, I can't blame them, because even if like the publisher right now, the financial conditions, they cannot afford to print like a Phantom Man or a Fruit Story, because the money involved is way more than what the readership base is getting back. And I really wish that would change, because there are some excellent Fruit Stories, especially like I have really been impressed from like how Fruit Stories have become better from 2017-18 onwards. It's just like taken a different level from before what it was, I feel. And there are such good stories right now. I would really wish like, like Regal could print some of them, like, like get a collection of like, Held to Account or something like that, all of those stories. Or even like, which I really like, P.D. Anderson's work with John Boyks. I hope I'm not murdering their names. So those stories, like if like, but they are in black and white. So in the Indian, they will again need to be colored. So if
So Pratheesh, is there, would that be a long-term goal that you be able to create your own Phantom content? Is that something that you would like to explore?
Yes. Actually, all these things were in our mind. Whatever Ankit said, one factor is that Indian stories, of course. India, I think in India only the more fans are in India, I think, compared to any other country. Only thing is that it is divided into languages. That is why if a publisher is to get enough customers, he will have to publish in all the languages, which is actually time consuming, and money is a lot of money involved. But number wise, if we are counting it, India is having more fans than any other country. Any other country, Australia or Sweden or whichever it is, India is having more fan base. That I would say. Now coming to the other aspect, whether we will be taking. Presently, we are doing only Sundays and dailies. Directly, we are taking it from King Pictures, and whether we will be able to take it from Phantom or Fruit, because as they have their original story. That is also in our mind, but again the same situation. Money aspect is one big thing which we need to consider it out. So if in India, if the fans more, as just like Ankit said, if it comes to new readers, we are getting new readers. Presently, I think around 70 to 80% of the readers are those who are now around 55 to 65 years range, who used to read during that 1980s when Indrajal was there, who used to read that Saibari stories, Lee Fox Saibari combo like that. They are the only people. New generation, some are there, and those some are also people who have been introduced by their parents.
Their father.
Automatically, they will be into that passion automatically. But what actually we need is some new customers. If it is just from father to son, then it will be number will be same only. Some five customers, old customers are there. They are just introducing it into new generation. We will get another new generation of 5 customers only. So basically, what we need is totally new customers.
Yeah.
So if that is working out, and if we can increase the sales accordingly, based on the price aspect, considering the huge price aspects and everything, definitely there is no doubt we will be taking stories from Phantom or even we can think of creating our own stories. That is also possible. Especially if that is happening, definitely we will be considering Phantom in India, like that Phantom's adventures in India. All these things are in our mind, but practically speaking, these dreams are big, of course, but put it into practice, it will be having its own hurdles. We are waiting to see what is going to happen to this trade paperback. Accordingly, we will plan for the future.
Awesome. Well, that sounds exciting. I'd love to see some Indian created stories and getting younger readers. Ankit, you and I, we need to be the older readers, not the younger readers. But Pratheesh and Ankit, I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight and letting me and pick your brains and getting to know you and the Indian readers and Regal Publishers a lot better. And I hope and I really truly believe that a lot of our listeners have been buying the comics and enjoying the comics, and so now they get to meet the main man behind it, Pratheesh, and then also Ankit, who's helping out with the cover design and also the interior design as well. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. If you're listening to this and you haven't heard of us, we are chroniclechamber.com. Our email address, if you want to get in contact with us, is chroniclechamber@gmail.com. We're all on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're also on Facebook. If you want to listen to more of our podcasts, you can either listen to our podcast on YouTube or your various podcast apps, which are like Spotify, iTunes, and etc., etc. So, on behalf of myself, thank you, Pratheesh, thank you, Ankit, thank you for your time. Listeners, thank you, and from me, happy phantoming.
Piracy, injustice and cruelty, and all my sons will follow me, so evildoers will believe that this man cannot die. The Phantom, the ghost who walks. The Phantom, enemies beware. The Phantom's always there, but you won't find the Phantom. He finds you.